I've got big crypto news for you. Visa has launched its tokenized sandbox, and the CFTC is embracing tokenization with some updated recommendations. And PayPal conducts the first enterprise payment with its PYUSD stablecoin, and Coinbase is about to delist USDT in Europe. I'll give you all the details. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, welcome into the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. I'm your host, Tony Edward. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button as well as the thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Spotify or Apple, please leave a 5-star rating and review. Folks, big news. Visa has launched its tokenized asset sandbox to promote blockchain integration. Folks, we continue to see the biggest firms and financial institutions in the world embracing crypto, using it in one way or the other, launching financial products such as ETFs, tokenizing on these public blockchains. So there was a movement to have permission private blockchains used, but the public continue to be the ones that work very well. So let me give you the details. Visa has released a product to help financial institutions issue fiat-backed tokens on blockchain networks. The Visa Tokenized Asset Platform, VTAP, the company announced on Thursday, October 3rd, is available on Visa's development platform to allow its banking partners to create and experiment with their own fiat-backed tokens in a VTAP sandbox. So it sounds like these banks will be able to create their own stablecoins and possibly CBDCs, but we don't have all the details on if they are able to do that. So the effort will employ the company's expertise in technologies like smart contracts to let banks issue and transfer fiat-backed tokens over blockchain networks. Visa has been at the forefront of digital payments for nearly 60 years, and with the introduction of VTAP, we are once again setting the pace for the industry, Vanessa Colella, Visa's head of innovation and digital partnerships, said in the release. So folks, it's what we've been talking about for years. We're headed to the token economy, everything running on the blockchains, even your traditional assets, but that these companies better wake up or they will have their blockbuster moment. You either innovate and adapt to the technology or you die, right? We saw what happened with Blockbuster and Netflix, and there are many other examples where Amazon disrupted other companies and so forth. So you have to keep up with the technology. Disruptive technology always wins. So it's incredible that these legacy payment and financial institutions are jumping all in, and they have to, guys. If they want to stay relevant, they want to stay in business, they have to. So here are some more quotes. There's a growing ecosystem where tokenized real-world assets are being issued across multiple permissioned and public blockchains. The company said Visa's vision is to enable interoperability across different blockchains for banks using the VTAP platform. So primarily, we're hearing that they are going to be using Ethereum. I'm not sure if they're going to expand to other blockchains. Most likely they will, because the future, it will be a multi-chain world. There will be interoperability. And look, this is why you want to have ETH in your portfolio. And I personally hold ETH, obviously not financial advice, but the point is you're seeing ETH getting massive adoption. Now, moving ahead, we got some more big tokenization news. So the CFTC subcommittee sends up recommendations for letting firms use tokenized shares as collateral. So this is really big. A vote was passed on Tuesday to move recommendations on the use of tokenized shares of money market funds to a larger body. A subcommittee of the CFTC moved its recommendations to the full committee, but the recommendations are not yet known. So this will, of course, impact the likes of BlackRock and Franklin Templeton and all the big institutions. Obviously, BlackRock's tokenized fund is the largest. I think it's over $500 million now. So incredible stuff. But as you can see, the guardrails are being put into place here. The clarity that's needed for these big institutions to continue to build and use tokenized assets is unfolding here. And remember, BlackRock is tokenizing on Ethereum. Franklin Templeton, I believe they're using Stellar and some other blockchains. I actually met Sandy Call, who I interviewed on the podcast. She's the head of digital assets at Franklin Templeton. I met her at Mainnet this week, and I'm going to try to get her back on to learn more about what they're doing. But folks, I hope you see what's happening here. The biggest institutions building, the government is now looking to enact clear regulations and guardrails. And this is the future. I know it doesn't happen overnight. I know we get impatient because we're looking at the price, but you can't just look at price, because price will follow the adoption and the building. So you have to look at the market holistically. If you're only looking at price, you're going to fail as an investor because price can be affected by a number of variables, depending on what's happening in the world, macro factors with the Fed cutting rates. What part of the money printing cycle are we in? Are we in quantitative tightening or quantitative easing? So you have to look at this thing holistically. And that's why I try to bring you these facts and the adoption news, because as we get more clarity, as we get more adoption and building, it's all going to drive up the value of these blockchain networks, the public ones. And if you're holding the native token, you will, of course, benefit. So really big news. Now, here's some more big news. PayPal executes first business transaction using its PYUSD stablecoin. This is really big, folks. And even Coinbase highlighted this because Coinbase, they help facilitate this transaction. So here are the details. PayPal completed its first business transaction using the PYUSD stablecoin when the digital payments firm paid an invoice to accounting giant Ernst & Young, that's EY. The Silicon Valley-based company is trying to demonstrate the ease of using its proprietary stablecoin for commercial transactions. So Ernst & Young is one of the top 4 accounting firms in the world. I hope you see what's happening here. And PayPal, of course, is a massive payments giant. Now, heads up, I will be interviewing the head of blockchain at EY very soon. So I'm going to bring you these exclusive interviews, folks. And I'm trying to get someone from PayPal on the podcast as well to talk about their crypto initiatives. And Coinbase Institutional tweeted out about this, saying PayPal, EY, and SAP are collaborating with Coinbase to streamline B2B payments. PayPal recently used stablecoins to pay EY invoices, trusting in SAP's new digital currency hub for execution and Coinbase Prime for secure custody. So once again, I'll get all the details from EY's head of blockchain, Paul Brody, actually, and he was at Mainnet this week as well. Guys, I am blown away by the caliber of enterprise companies that are getting involved with crypto in one way or the other. And this is a clear adoption that's going to continue to grow, and stablecoins are going to be a big part of what's happening. And I know stablecoins, there's not much to invest in there, but it goes back to the blockchain, right? Which blockchains are you using, and are you holding the native token? Now, on that note, I shared a bit of this news, I think it was earlier this week or last week, but Swift is starting to ramp up their efforts in working with different banks and institutions around the world in using cryptocurrencies and blockchain. So they continue to tweet out news here. They said live trials of digital asset transactions on Swift to start in 2025. So things are heating up globally in different industries, and the biggest companies and enterprises, as mentioned, are here. So it's really exciting. Now, a great place where you can buy ETH and other altcoins and Bitcoin and so forth is on Gemini, which is a great crypto exchange. They have a ton of products. They have a fully functional exchange with an app. They have staking. They have a credit card. They have a stable coin called Gemini Dollar. They have a Web3 creative studio called Nifty Gateway. And folks, if you sign up with Gemini and you trade $100 in Bitcoin, you can get $15 in Bitcoin for free if you use my link and my code. Link will be in the description. So check out Gemini, and it's a platform I've been using for years, so I can vouch for them. Now, moving ahead, many of you know that the EU passed crypto regulations. I think it's called MiCA, and part of that is some strict regulations around stablecoins and reserves. Well, Coinbase is getting ready to delist Tether in the EU along with other stablecoins. We don't have all the details on what those other stablecoins are, but just note that this is a delisting just in the EU, not in the United States and other parts of the world. I'm not saying that couldn't happen later on, but right now it's just the EU. So things are being put into place here. My thoughts, though, is that Tether will eventually get this together, and it'll probably be relisted at some point. But right now, they're not being listed here. So we'll see what happens as we head into 2025. But this is a big update. If you're in Europe, you are now going to be able to access Tether, which is obviously super beneficial for the folks at Circle who issue USDC and possibly Ripple's stablecoin or LUSD, and obviously PayPal's PYUSD. So the stablecoin wars are heating up. This is something I wrote about since I think it was Q4 of 2023, that this year we would see some really big shakeups in the market. So interesting stuff. Now, moving ahead, Ripple partners with Brazilian exchange Mercado Bitcoin to offer business-focused payment solutions. So despite the challenges Ripple is facing here in the United States, they continue to build and expand. As mentioned, they're going to launch a stablecoin called RLUSD. So, Mercado Bitcoin, a leading Brazilian exchange, will be the first customer of Ripple's product in Brazil, using Ripple's platform to improve its internal treasury options between Brazil and Portugal. Ripple introduced its crypto on-demand liquidity (ODL) service in Brazil in August 2022 in partnership with Travelex Bank. So really big adoption news here for Ripple and for their ODL service. And like I said, they continue to expand globally. And I often remind you guys, crypto is not a US based asset class. It's a global asset class. So despite what the United States may be doing, putting up hurdles and roadblocks and so forth, companies continue to grow their business overseas, and there's clarity in many countries and jurisdictions. You know, you got Japan, Singapore, Dubai, and so on and so forth. So this asset class can't be stopped. This technology can't be stopped. Despite what Gary Gensler and Elizabeth Warren and the other clowns are trying to do, crypto blockchains will outlast them. Now, speaking of the SEC, Paul Grewal, Chief Legal Officer at Coinbase, says yesterday the SEC filed a reply brief in the Legilex case that argued whether a digital asset transaction is a securities transaction is not determined by the nature of the asset. It's remarkable because they argued the precise opposite to Judge Falia in our case. So this is the continued hypocrisy that we're seeing from the SEC. They will lie in one case. It's just a mess, and there's no accountability. Just look at what they said in the Binance legal document, right, where they apologize for using crypto asset securities or digital asset securities, yet they used it in other cases in the same week. What is going on? Do you care about the law? Do you have any honor? Obviously not, right? It's pathetic. And Paul highlights here, where you can reference what the SEC said in the SEC's Coinbase opposition brief. He says, "This is our government acting in the name of all of us. Telling one judge one thing while telling another the opposite should not be tolerated. We deserve better." Yeah, this is unbelievable. This is your tax dollars, that folks. And look, I've been talking about this with various folks. It's a symptom of big government, where these agencies have become too powerful. There's no accountability. They've gone rogue, where they will break the law just to get their way, and that is not right, folks. And this is obviously, like I said, a bigger problem. But obviously, the SEC has gotten worse under Gary Gensler, who's a scumbag regulator. Now, with regards to the election, which could impact crypto legislation and the SEC and so forth, Eleanor Turret of Fox Business highlighted the following. The power of the crypto voter is apparent in findings of a new survey commissioned by Consensus and Harris X Data. Harris X Data, just so you know, has nothing to do with Kamala Harris. They said here, your go-to source for accurate, in-depth research on politics, society, business, AI, technology, and so forth. So the key takeaways are 92% of crypto owners say they plan to vote on November 5th. 49% of all US voters consider pro-crypto stance important, with voters 13% more likely to cross party lines for favorable policies. In swing state Pennsylvania, 34% of voters are open to voting outside their party if a candidate supports pro-crypto policies. In swing state Wisconsin, crypto is gaining popularity among blue-collar voters, and Republicans have an edge there, with 40% of voters believing the GOP will be better for crypto policy. Finally, 56% of voters support Donald Trump's pro-crypto stance, with the third saying they are more likely to vote for him because of it, while 54% of voters believe it's important for Kamala Harris to take a clear position on crypto. So Democrats want to play around. Kamala Harris wants to play around. They're going to feel it in the polls. Obviously, this is not the only issue here, but the Democrats have an opportunity to take this off the election ballot, which I want it off the election ballot because I believe crypto is a neutral technology. It shouldn't be political. Elizabeth Warren made it political, but at the end of the day, Harris should come out and say, hey, we're going to support these technologies. Here's my policy and so forth. And then people can vote on other issues, right? I'm not telling you who to vote for, but you're adults. So people have different reasons what they vote for. But as it relates to crypto, Donald Trump has the clear advantage. Kamala Harris, I don't know what the hell she's doing. Now, the good thing is that in Congress, in the House and Senate, we're seeing more Democrats supporting crypto. Many of them have turned their backs on Elizabeth Warren and Gary Gensler. So that's a very good sign. And we need that to get crypto legislation through. We know it made it through the House already. It has to go through the Senate. So let's see what happens. But people who own crypto are going to vote, guys. And if Harris loses, You can imagine what people are going to say about Elizabeth Warren and Gary Gensler. Now, guys, something very interesting from HBO. There's a documentary claiming they have uncovered the true identity of Satoshi Nakamoto, the pseudonymous creator of Bitcoin. I don't believe they have. I just believe this is some sensationalism, and they're trying to get people to watch it, obviously. And look, the timing of this, it's coming out now because they know bull market, right? They know a lot of people are going to be interested. So look, I give them credit for the timing and the marketing. It does include some of the OGs, the Bitcoin OGs, like Adam Back and a bunch of other folks, but we'll see. There are many theories as to who Satoshi Nakamoto is, that it may be the NSA, a group of people, a group of computer scientists, Hal Finney, and so forth. But who knows? At this point, it's probably better that this is not uncovered, but we shall see. You never know what the future holds. But I don't think HBO uncovered who Satoshi Nakamoto is. All right, folks, that's the news. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Hit the thumbs up button. Don't forget to sign up for my free email newsletter. It's on Substack. It's 100% free, filled with crypto knowledge and insights. Link will be in the description. Also, be sure to grab a copy of my book, Rethinking Crypto. It's available on Amazon in paperback and digital. If you bought a copy already, please leave a rating and review. It will really help me out. Thank you, and I'll talk to you all later.